I'd like to call the Resource Committee meeting to order, please. Brother Joe, would you do that discussion?
Yeah, please. Heavenly Father, again, I want to thank you, Father, for this day you blessed us with. Thank you for your many blessings on us as a people, on our nation, on our tribe. Thank you for traveling grace to get here today. I ask your blessings on our chairman, each member of this committee. And Father, I would pray for all of those that are hurting today for one reason or another. Pray that you'd touch them and comfort them, heal them, bless them as only you can. Watch over our troops, keep them safe until they get to come home. Be with their families who are worried about them and anguish about what might happen to them while they're gone. Go with us now, help us do good work for our people. Forgive us where we fail you. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Roll call, please.
Curtis Snell,
Here.
Chris Soap, Bill England,
Here.
Bill John Baker, Jack Baker,
Here.
Harley Buzzard,
Here.
Julia Coates, Bradley Cobb, Joe Crittenden,
Here.
Jody Fishingham, Meredith Fraley, Janelle Fulbright, here, Don Garvin,
On it.
Chuck Hoskin Jr., Tina Glory Jordan,
Present.
David Thornton,
Present.
Kara Callan Watts,
Honey.
John Masters.
Whoa.
We do have a quorum.
Moving on down, I'd like approval of the April 11th
Make a motion to be approved.
So, second.
discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving down to the reports, we have Angela Drew or Michael Lane.
Hello, how are you all today? I am not Angela, I am Pat. Angela's not here today.
Okay, Pat.
I know you all have the report in our packet, and I'm here to answer questions on that. And I also have a series of questions and information that I needed to bring to you from several council members. So if it's all right, I'd like to go down that list and take care of that, sir.
Yes.
The first one is for Councilman Hoskin. Okay, I'll get him later. Ms. Jordan, I think that you and I took care of our issue today regarding those two plans.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Baker, we took care of our issue regarding that. Ms. Fishing Hawk, regarding the Veterans Center, that bid has been awarded and construction will begin weather dependent as soon as possible. So you should, weather dependent, you should see construction beginning this month or next. For the seat, I'm sorry, that I do not know. I'll get that to you.
Yes, Councilman Biden.
And that was my question, who's the order to bid?
Okay, I'll get that to you. As far as the CDC buildings, that has not yet been, the CDC in Adair County, Ms. Fishing Hawk, that has not been bid. You might expect maybe a midsummer date on that. That's kind of our goal is to have that happen.
Okay.
Mr. Snell, you and I spoke on the phone a couple of days, about a week ago regarding some of those pine trees down in the right-of-ways up there that some folks wanted. I'm assuming that took care of your question.
Yes.
Mr. Crittenden, we had our conversation earlier regarding the trees.
Yes, we
Did you
did.
have anything else that you need to bring up?
Thank you for your comments, though. I found it very enlightening.
Trying to put one over on me. But, Mr. Buzzard, regarding the overall issue with our pine plantations, forest management plan,
Yes.
I will bring you up to date. As you know, that's been about a 6-year process. We have been disappointed with the Bureau of Indian Affairs, how they've handled that situation. Where it stands now is that they are insistent upon rewriting the forest management plan that they wrote themselves. We did not write. I see, at this point in time, I don't see a resolution within the next couple of months. I think they're going to insist upon rewriting that plan. We have made our feelings clear on it, and they have made it clear that they don't have a lot of concern for our feelings on that. And I don't know of another way to put that, so.
Is that, Mr. Chairman, does that also include the thinning of the vine? Will that be written in the report plan?
Yes, and as an update, we had requested a Category 4 forest management plan, which basically would leave the final decision for all forestry activities less than $15,000 at the sole discretion of the tribe. They balked at that, and they want to go with the Category 2 forest management plan, which are the plans that are written for the Indian tribes in Northwest United States, which actually produce timber for mills and have mills on site. Those figures don't work for here. We've tried to plead our case, and as I said, the Bureau has not been responsive to our request on that. If in fact that happens, what that will put us into is if we do want to cut and sell a small amount of trees, less than $15,000, the total bill for doing that will probably be, the cost to the tribe to cut those trees that are worth $15,000 will probably be in excess of $25,000. So we'll be $10,000 in the hole. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I'm not a federal employee, so.
Well, that's about par for the BIA. I know we dealt with them on road issues for years and years, and I understand the progress that you can do with them is very little. It takes years to get it done. Now, does this also include the burning of the controlled burn there too, Pat? Because we haven't had a controlled burn down there for probably 4 or 5 years, maybe longer.
We actually have made some progress in that with our fire agreement, and we were able to focus on Adair County this year, and our fire agreement now allows us to allow fires to burn to natural breaks. And we started doing that in Adair County, and we're going to try to move that up in Delaware County lands next year, which that'll have to be approved through BIA as well, so.
Okay, well, I kind of know what you're dealing with, so.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not speaking ill towards, the employees, it's the system.
Well, it's a system, I understand that too. Thank you.
Councilman Hoskin, we have had a couple of email conversations, or did you have any other questions regarding South Coffeyville, or are you?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I first wanted to express my appreciation for the work that went on up there. I know it was a full day's work for several people, including Angela Drews and Ms. Donaldson, I believe, was up there as well. There was some, I get, on any issue, I get feedback from the community, and in that particular day, I was getting it in real time from a number of people who I think sort of what they didn't know was the issue. They didn't know exactly what was going on, and I had anticipated that there'd be some communication between the administration and the local Cherokee group. I'd encourage that. I think after the fact there was real good communication, and I think Ms. Drews and the head of the Native American Fellowship Incorporated had a very good discussion, and I know you've reached out to them, and Ms. Donaldson's talked to them in the past, and so I don't think anything's anything's amiss in that regard. It's just that on the front end, I had anticipated a little bit more discussion, but we are where we are, and I appreciate the hard work.
And I have spoken with Mr. Davis, and I'm sorry, Schufelt. I'm sorry if that's the wrong.
Schufelt, that's correct.
So, I've spoken with him, and Ms. Donaldson is very conducive to what we discussed, and I'm just waiting on to get some written permission from risk management.
Okay. And Mr. Chairman, just to note that we have a situation where there was cleanup of a trailer that is in dilapidated condition and some land that Cherokee Nation purchased. And the good thing is that it's actually going to be removed by a local Cherokee who has the equipment. So I think that's a really good partnership, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Carrick Watts, I have a list of items to report to you. Cherokee Nation has drafted the MOA for Rogers County Emergency Management, and we have signed. However, administration has requested us to change that format, which is not a major task, and we will be getting that to Mr. Anderson. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Have you seen the email that I sent as a follow-up to the meeting we had? There's a number of individuals that need the draft in a timely manner with time to respond. So there's the fire chief in Claremore, who's also responsible for emergency management in the city of Claremore. There's Bob Anderson, who is the county fire emergency management. George Vallier, the CEO of the Claremore Indian Hospital, the chief of police, Dan Brown. There's a number, so I'd appreciate being included on it. And maybe I didn't make it clear in the email. But this has been outstanding for several years, so I wanted it on record because there needed to be some movement on it.
Okay, I'll make sure that happens.
Thank you.
And the loss control and risk management will draw up the evacuation plans for those two complexes. As far as some of the communication issues, we have designed a series of pamphlets for natural disaster issues like shelter in place and so forth, and those will be given to Mr. Sutherland for the Hawken residence.
Mr. Chairman, may I continue? So we have unique issues in that we have a federal enclave at Claremore Indian Hospital. So there's a federal facility that is basically, sure, there's probably resources in place, but ultimately it's probably gonna be on us to respond. And then we're dealing with multiple layers of local emergency management, and no one has coordinated. And we have not dealt with any of the Hard Rock or Will Rogers Downs issues. And we have not communicated with those local people on how that is and made sure that our businesses are being held accountable for local planning.
I do know that we have contacted the Hard Rock, Will Rogers, and the Indian Hospital to get copies of their plans and to get a work group formed, and as of yet, they have not responded. There is a meeting scheduled on the 24th of this month
Okay,
to coordinate those issues.
I'm surprised that nobody's responded, so I don't know who us is contacting them. And especially when I send an email, it's like bam, it's done, and people are very responsive. So I have not been kept in the loop, and I'd asked to be kept in the loop too, and that could be part of the issue. I know that you guys are over an hour away, so us folks up north have very, individual contacts with sophisticated and, I know that you get out, but I'm struggling with the folks that you're answering for, because unless we demand something happens, they're not necessarily getting out up there, and we need them to engage with all of us to make sure that the folks we know we work with every day up there are being worked with.
Well, I'll make sure Angie and Tamara get with you and they can share
All they have
contact.
to do is email me and
lists.
we will get that.
Okay.
So if I want a copy of whatever they said that they have sent that has not been responded to, I want it on email to Buell and I.
Okay.
And Pat, I know you're answering for other people, so I appreciate it.
I understand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Buzzer.
And Pat, this may not pertain to you, but we had requested, or someone had already put in the sign to identify where the Sam Hodder Clinic is in Jay. And they were dealing with ODOT, so I know there's some issues there. Is that in your department?
It is. It's Dana Espinal is working on that, and I believe that all those issues have been resolved, and there should be signage. I think I heard the timeframe of June.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You can continue on the list?
Yes.
Okay.
Kara, there will be security inspections of those facilities that we mentioned. Cherokee Nation has asked Risk Management, Claremore Indian Hospital for emergency plans. As I said, we're still having issues. The meeting we discussed on 5/24, and Mr. B. Anderson, I'm sorry, I don't know his first name.
Bob.
And Risk Management, after the meeting of the 24th, Mr. Anderson will be meeting with Risk Management to exchange those plans and to try to coordinate all of those activities.
Okay.
That's all I have.
So, thank you for the Ulickall building donation. And, because that did finally come through, but I haven't heard any update on the Claremore Indian Hospital signage. And your report actually refers to the outcomes on the recycling grant.
Yes.
But when I've asked in the past, I need a written report, whether it's in conjunction between your department and environmental. But what was the grant outcomes and how are we complying, using that grant outcomes to comply with our Reduce, Reuse, Recycling Act?
I think that's probably more of a Mr. Elkins question,
Okay.
I believe. Is that correct, Tom?
Yes and no.
Just answer.
say yes.
Yeah.
No, I'll say no. Shall I discuss it during?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Apparently, yes.
And if you have any, if he doesn't answer any of your questions, just email me and I'll get you the answers. If he doesn't
Thank you.
answer.
Thank you.
I haven't been answered yet, so.
Pat, have you looked in more about the, for hunting camps?
We had our first meeting on the comprehensive recreation plan the week before last, and that is one of the topics that we're going to be discussing. I mean, it is one of the bullets to actually implement.
And then the community, the Bull Hollow Community Building, we talked a little bit about a while ago. Can you do some checking on that, is there any possibility of getting that?
Yeah, I thought that was,
Renovated or-
yeah, I actually thought that was still occupied, but I'll check on that. Okay?
We'd like to have a meeting, probably a July meeting at Bull Hollow with a fish fry. Is that possible?
I will ask.
Okay.
Would you like to have it on the normal committee date?
I think we would, yeah, have it in the morning, bright and early, 6 o'clock.
Fish for breakfast.
Fish good in town.
Yeah. Check on that for us if you would, Pat.
Yes, sir.
Any more questions for Pat?
One last question, Mr. Chairman. Just briefly, Pat, I don't know if you've been on the loop in this at all, but there was the issue of looking at some land for a Civil War reenactment, and I know I'd visited with Paula on it, and I hadn't had a chance, Paula, to get back with you, but I just wondered if it was something
No.
within your group.
I'm not familiar with it. That doesn't mean that Angie's not, but I have.
I can meet with Paula
Okay.
offline then. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Pat, thank you.
Thank you all.
Next up on the agenda is Real Estate Services, Linda Donaldson.
Good afternoon. I think you have my list, report in your packet. Is there any questions?
This time,
Linda, would you be so kind as to send us the results of the bid out? I think it was held, was it the 28th?
Yes, it was.
If you could send us those results, who got them and what amounts, or just send us that sheet.
Do you want it now, or do you want to wait until after Friday? Because Friday is the date, their deadline to get all of their lease fees in as to the administrative fees. And that tells us at that point which leases they're actually going to take. Because up until that point, some of them may have only wanted 2 tracks and they may have gotten 5. And so they will let us know at that point whether they're going to keep all 5 or whether they're going to let 3 go or 4 go or however it goes.
Actually, Linda, what I would like to see is, that sheet that when they open up the bids and they write down
Right.
the person's name and then the bid amount, if you just send those sheets.
We
I'm
can-
sure you've got them scanned
Right,
in.
we've got those, we actually had them all typed out as to who's got what, and the notations on it as to
I
who
just
would
want to
get
see
them.
the bid range.
Okay, we can give you that. I didn't know if you wanted to know who actually was gonna end up with them, and I was gonna
Well,
wait
that
and
might-
send everybody a copy of those when those come out.
I would appreciate that information, but I'm kind of interested in the bid range.
Okay, I'll send you that.
All right, thank you very much.
I don't know if anybody else wanted that, or if you just want, you do too? Okay. Well, I'll just send them to Gail, and she'll
Okay.
give them to everybody.
Thank you.
On that, it actually came out, the way it was, it came out about $50,000 more than the last bid cycle. So it came out fairly well. And we're not done yet, so, and one of them, somebody bid $500 on a track that was leasing for $6,000 last time, so we didn't let that one go. That was a no to that 500.
I appreciate that information, thank you.
You're welcome.
We have more questions for Linda?
I did want to let you know, just in case you didn't notice on the sheet, we did acquire the house that's across the street that had the little car shop next to it. Okay.
Yes, Kara?
And Ms. Claremore Federal Building.
Okay, and we haven't got a response back yet. We're still trying to get that from BIA.
Okay, so what have you done in the last month to get a response, I guess?
Just ask them where they're at, and they keep telling me that they're talking to the solicitor's office to try to get them to do the report, their opinion that says that we can take it.
Can we start calling them once a week or once a day,
Yeah.
or what do we gotta do?
That may be what we're gonna have to do.
I would appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Council Lady
thank you.
Donna?
Linda,
Wait a minute.
would you care to email the price on, across the road here and who we bought that from?
Okay, we'll do that.
And is it acreage or just the lot and
It's an acreage amount.
okay, if you would send that information
Okay.
too.
Okay, we'll do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Linda. We'll run down the environmental programs, Tom Elkins.
Good afternoon. I think you have our report. May I go over just a few items?
Yes,
Um,
please.
Our goals, we're pretty much on track. Some things are a little bit lower, some things are a little bit over where we had anticipated. I do want to point out, last month was Earth Day on the 22nd, my son's birthday. We worked with quite a few people, different individuals and different groups to clean up the town branch again. Went really well, it culminated down at Phelps Park. And then we had a little hot dog cook and went off really well. I think that's all I'd like to point out. If I may answer one of Ms. Cowan-Watt's questions.
Yes, please.
Okay. On the Reduce, Recycle, Reuse Act that we have, that was written after, I believe it was after, I know it came into effect after we got the Department of Energy grant. We didn't specifically write the grant for that, although that's a great way to implement it. We should have been doing that. We had the capacity to do some of those things, like paper, cardboard, a while back, and we were doing those, and we were doing them fairly well. The recycling facility, the Department of Energy came out with a block grant, and it just, for whatever reason, the administration asked us to administer that grant. And one of the proposals that we did with that was the recycling center. Those monies have been there for a while, and Ms. Drew's group is the one that's handling that. I believe the reasons, and I think there are a few, that hasn't been forwarded is they bid out multiple times. I know she's looking at design features right now. I know Mr. Gwynn was trying to get a hold of her to get more specifics, but they are in design phase. So that's being contracted out apparently. We're not doing it. I thought it was a simple matter of building a building, but more goes into that.
Council Lady Watts?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tom, I don't know who, I seem to remember that it would be a written report from the Secretary of State. But since you are environmental and you had that grant, I would appreciate that the act needs to be reviewed, and the internal folks, the team that was responsible for that, would bring back an analysis
proposal.
of how we're doing in comparison to what the act requirements, because at this point, I think we're 2 or 3 years in. It took 3 years to negotiate to get the act passed.
I would imagine.
And there was a lot of input from Chief Smith's administration.
Definitely.
And I would like to see how we're holding up and how our businesses are in comparison to what the Act's requirements were, because that was a compromise and a negotiation.
That the businesses would be, okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And if possible, if we could have it at next month's meeting, it would be great.
I'll certainly do my best.
Okay.
Now, I'll have it as part of our report.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Buzzard,
Tom, on our compressed natural gas station here, where is it, what status is it at now?
We are definitely under contract. They've designed it. We've picked the design as far as where the compressors are gonna go. The compressors have been ordered, all the equipment, compressors, the tanks and everything have been ordered. Those things are a few months out, like 8 weeks, something to that effect. But we should have everything in and operable well before the end of the fiscal year, is what I'm told.
And then a follow-up question, we're not gonna be doing one in Roland, is that right?
We are not at this point.
And the other question is, have we started coordinating with the departments here in the Cherokee Nation and other places and with GSA to get vehicles that will run on that compressed natural gas?
I know some of our groups, and I don't know who that is that handles exactly, that works with GSA on that. They're mandated to have like 20% of their vehicles as alternative fuels. That doesn't mean CNG, but they do have some CNG. So I've been talking with some of our folks all around the nation about ordering GSAs that can be natural gas. And then we lease a lot of vehicles and we buy a few vehicles. And I hope that they'll be either CNG or, obviously if people are gonna go farther away and they don't know that they'll be able to get, it's like the old propane they used to have. People had to map out where they could go with that. And initially, I think that's how it's gonna have to be. But I know on the I-40 corridor, there's quite a bit of these coming up.
And that was my next question. What is the next closest filling station?
Well, there's gonna be another one in Tahlequah.
Okay.
There's currently one in Muskogee.
Okay.
And there's gonna be some down I-4. I know there's a few in Tulsa.
Okay, and do you know what currently that gas is selling for now?
I don't.
Last time I heard it's like $1.40, $1.38, something like that.
I've heard 3 or 4 things. I think it's about 2/3 what we're paying.
Sure. Okay, well, I'm excited to get it going.
Me
Thank
too.
you.
more questions for Tom? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on down to old business, I see none.
Mr. Chairman, I have a motion to amend.
Yes.
I'd like to amend the agenda to add a resolution authorizing the submission of a special grant application from the U.S. Department of Interior for Energy and Minerals Development Program. And there's a typo that needs to be struck. It is interior, not interiod. And at this time of discussion, I would ask that it be moved to full council tonight.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, you want to make it item number 3?
That'd be great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Carrie, you got 1, 2, and 3.
Very good.
Good work.
I'd like to make a motion to approve item number 1, a resolution authorizing Cherokee Nation Office of Environmental Programs to submit a formal grant application to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency for a Brownsfield grant.
So moved.
It is a $0 match with grant up to $300,000 and needs to be moved to full council tonight if the body would be so kind to amend the agenda, Madam Speaker, all 3 actually. So we have, I made the motion.
Any questions? We got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 2 is a resolution authorizing our environmental programs group to submit a formal grant application to the EPA Solid Waste Management Grant Program for dump sites, as well as the Intertribal Environmental Council, ITEC, which we run technical training. No match is required, and it's for $100,000. I make a motion to approve for full council tonight.
Any discussion?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3.
Item number 3, I'm honored to co-sponsor with Councilwoman Fraley, Councilman Thornton, and Councilwoman Fulbright. This is a significant effort on behalf of the Cherokee Nation that has taken years of culmination and would invite any other co-sponsors at this time before full council so Ms. Shelley can have it all corrected. And it is,
How many what's on?
is there anyone that doesn't want added? So everybody that's present will get added, okay? So I'd like to make a motion to approve so that they can move forward on this grant. And there's no match required, and it could possibly be $1 million for a hydro project. And if there's any questions, Ms. Carol Wyatt, who's the project coordinator for this project from Cherokee Nation Businesses, is here to answer detailed questions.
Do we have any questions for Carol Watt?
Carol Wyatt.
Carol, does anybody have any questions for Carol? How soon can we get the money, Carol?
Well, we got 1.6 million last time on the project. Seems we have favor with DOI, and so I think they have a little bit more money in their pool this time, and we expect at least that much or more again.
Good.
So and soon it could bring it to construction. It would take about $7 million more to bring it up to construction.
I think 7 million more to get into construction.
Up to construction, possibly. That's just how much we just got the grant, the notice last week, and we appreciate you moving it up so we could get it in this council approval, because the grant is due June 23rd. They don't give you a very long lead time, but it has a possibility to be a good diversification for a revenue long term. This is a 100-year project, and it mirrors the one at Van Buren.
Good.
So if anybody has any.
So any questions? Yes.
Yes, sir.
How good a prospect is it for long-term revenue? What's your estimates?
After it's, well, we don't know exactly because we have to get a power purchase agreement, but we're dealing with utilities. We're also collecting our own electric bills for all of the nation and all its entities. And so it's possible we could save money by using offsetting our own electric load and locking it in the price for, 20 years or so. But the lowest that we have projected so far would probably be 10 to 12 million annually. And that is after it's paid off, but it is a long-term project, low risk.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Carol? Yes, Harvey.
Carol, this is not about this one here, but I guess we can ask a question about our wind power study there in Cherokee. How's that coming along? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, we kind of missed our window when it was going good. So then the natural gas prices went real low, and it made it not profitable exactly to at that time. We missed getting a power purchase. That's our problem right now, is getting a power purchase agreement to make it profitable, because they were coming in at like 4.5 cents because natural gas prices are low. So until those increase, which as a resident I don't want that to happen, but it would help the wind project. We do have an investor developer that we have turned the project over to, and they're trying to get a power purchase agreement. We still are in the queue for the Southwest Power Pool, which, we've already invested $130,000 but we're still in that queue. We didn't lose our position and have to start over. And so they're working on getting power purchase agreements for us. So it looks like it could still happen rather than die.
Is the power grid, existing power grid, is it close by enough to work?
Yes, it is. It's right across the road now.
Okay.
It was about 1.5 miles away,
Yeah, no,
but K Electric brought it up to where it's right across our property.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And we could use, if we have enough, we could possibly use our own electric load. It's quite large, probably more than anybody knows, the whole nation. And we could offset some of that power and maybe lock it in too. We're also dealing with the military bases, and they seem real favorable on buying our power.
I see.
And it's a good thing to do that. They can get double credit
So we're not putting any windmills up?
Not yet. Sorry, I'd like to.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions?
Call for the question.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carol.
Moving on down to announcements. Have any announcements?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I have, the Executive Legislative Conference is scheduled for 5. I have, agenda items if you'd like for me to pass them out.
Please.
Okay. Skip there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Like a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Favor? Opposed?